So, folks, Real Estate Mavericks are very proud to welcome our guest today. He is James Brown, co-founder of Real Home Solutions. He's talking to us from beautiful Denver, Colorado. And welcome, James. Welcome to the Real Estate Mavericks.
Thanks. Good to
All
talk to
right.
you again.
All righty. Great to connect and appreciate you taking the time today. So what really stood out to me is your approach here. I mean, you're not just doing transactions, you're actually building wealth structures for people. And yeah, so let's dig into your whole approach. That's always a good place to start. What pulled you into real estate and specifically into the investment side rather than traditional sales? What got you
Hmm.
going in
Yeah,
this?
good question. Well, it started years ago, really. I think it was my dad told me I was probably in college, and he's like, "Hey, you should buy a duplex and live in one side, rent out the other side." And so I kind of planted the seed, and I didn't end up doing
Hmm.
that, but I did end up buying a house together with my brother, which I mean, we were just out of college when we did that. And that's about the only way for people to do it these days, unless they jump right into a, 150, $200,000 job,
Yeah.
So that's how I started.
Hmm.
And then I didn't actually invest for like years. But I did end up buying my own house and I house hacked, I rented out a room. So that's how I got started. And then I was a graphic designer for
Sure.
25 years, basically straight out of college. That was my career. And it wasn't really getting me where I wanted to
Mm.
go. I was like, man, I should get some rentals going here. Um, and all
Hmm.
along, that was
Hmm.
my plan. But, like I bought my first house on my own in 2006 before the crash. And like, there was no equity in it for quite a long time, and it
Hmm.
wasn't till the like it was 2017, I think, I kind of woke up and like, okay, I think I got some equity. I got to figure this out. Um, and I just wanted something to help me
Mm.
get towards retirement
So
because
you held on through the tough years.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I held on. Yeah, thank goodness. I mean, it helped me
Good for you.
launch my investing business and career. So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people got knocked during that whole meltdown there.
oh yeah,
But the people who just hung on and kept slogging through it usually came out pretty good on the other side. So that sounds like a great story for people. Real estate is not all a bed of roses. That is for sure. And it's gonna have some knocks down there too. And I think that's what really makes a good investor. And I mean, you're not going to get knocked all the time, but when it happens, pick yourself up and keep moving. And
yeah,
you've
yeah.
shown that. You've shown that. What what did you see? What did you yourself see, James, that others were not seeing at that time? And as you move forward with your career now in real estate.
What was I seeing at the time? I wasn't seeing as much as I do now, but so when I first got into it, started listening to podcasts and reading books and going to networking events and eventually hired mentors, which takes a lot of the risk out, right? Because they've already done it and they
Mm.
know what to look for. One
Hmm.
thing I'd say, always look for like plan B, right? Like don't hang your hat on
Mm.
like if you go buy a short-term rental, that was great for a while and it still is for some properties, but like what happens if you're not getting bookings? Are you gonna have to
Yeah,
fire
yeah.
sell it? Are you gonna lose? Like what can you turn it into co-living home or sober living
Mm.
house or regular rental? What is the next step? So I'm always looking at that to protect the downside, right? But like, so kind of
Yeah.
to go back though, like when I was trying to get my head around like how to do this. And like most people, I'm like, oh, all I knew is fix and flips. and buy and hold long-term rentals, and short-term rentals was a thing. But then my mind
Mm,
opened up to so many other things, and that's where I was like, I discovered rent to own and the investing
mhm.
side of that. I was like, oh my goodness,
Okay.
like there's way less
Yes.
risk than flipping. You might not make as much like in a
Mhm,
big shot, but way less risk and way better residents because they've got
mhm,
an owner's
mhm.
mindset and the intention to buy the home and some skin in the game, like they pay money up front. That's a whole different person than just a regular renter that has a security deposit and no intention to buy that home. Like they don't have that connection.
Right,
It makes
right.
all the difference, you
And
know.
you are excelling in this. I mean, you specialize in creative financing and lease option structures.
Yeah.
Can you break that down in really simple terms for people? And and how is your model different than traditional approaches?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways to do rent to own investing. You either
Hmm.
have the property first, and then you go find a buyer that can't get qualified from a bank, and then you lease the property to them until they can get a traditional bank loan. So that's property first. What I prefer is find a buyer up front that we know that can't get a loan, we know why, and we know that they've got a chance to buy, and then we let them pick out a property on market and we'll go buy that
Hmm.
property and lease it to them until they can get a bank loan. So it's property first or buyer first. I've done it both ways. I prefer the buyer first. Yeah.
Okay. And does this open up, more opportunities for you? I'm pretty sure most investors are not doing this method, and yet you've done quite well with that. So, um, and you've described how your approach is a little different. You're going after a buyer first rather than the property. Can you tell us some typical scenarios here? Some challenges that have happened, how you've gone around those challenges and plowed through them to help that new buyer, and that would be good for our listeners here because not everybody, I would say, most investors would like to learn more about lease options and learn it from someone like yourself who's got the experience.
Yeah. Um, I mean, tips, hire a mentor that knows what they're doing. Um,
Mm,
you have to know, you have to have contracts. And so we do a lease with a separate option instead of one. And it's been looked over by ours multiple attorneys. But find one good one, get things going. I say multiple because I've done this in multiple states, and every state's a little bit different. So you want to make sure it's tight for your state and current laws. So I've had attorneys update it. You know, our laws in Colorado have been changing quite a bit. Um,
okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
and ours is nicely balanced, right? Like we've had a buyer take our contracts to an attorney I actually knew, um, and she wanted it heavily weighted towards her, and we ended up with a very nicely balanced one. So if you
Right.
end up in court for some reason, it's balanced, and the judge isn't going to be like, oh, you're taking advantage of this person, you know?
Right.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
I don't want to end up in court. I don't want to help people. So
There we go. There we go. Because that begs the question here, what opportunities do people have to actually own a home if they are in that situation, and how does that help the buyer?
yeah. So there's we could dive into that for sure. So these are people that can't get a loan right now. They want to buy. The bank said,
Yeah.
no, have very specific check boxes. And if they don't check all the boxes, there's no leeway. There are a lot of programs
Yep.
to get people into homes, but so typically a rent-to-own buyer is self-employed. Ideally,
Okay.
they just need at least 1 year of income to show. And there's bank statement loans and stuff, but so there's a sliver of the population that they just need time. That's the ideal situation. There's no other stuff like,
They
you
need,
know, um, credit issues. There's a lot of credit issues
right.
that come up, but as long as we kind of look at it holistically, like, is it fixable? Does that buyer, are they motivated to fix all that stuff? And we just give them enough time to do that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it's a specific kind of buyer. Maybe they've
Yeah.
got a couple of kids, but there's often self-employment, and your strategy enables them to get in and become a homeowner
Yeah.
while they go through the lease process. And when they're ready to pull the trigger, they can own that home.
Yep,
Is that it in a
exactly.
nutshell, or if I made it too simple here?
No, it's simple. It's simple.
Yeah.
Like, I'm no rocket
Okay.
scientist, so like I can figure this
Yeah.
out, and for the buyers, it's pretty straightforward. Like, and it's saving them from having to move because I
Yep.
get these calls all the time. Oh, my landlord's done. Like they're selling, and we got to move in a month or whatever. And they're like, oh
Yeah.
crap. Like I have that happen all the time.
Yep.
And that's not going to happen if they're in this situation and they can pick the home and stay and not have to
Yeah.
move, especially when you got kids and dogs.
When you get
And
children, oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Why
yeah,
do most people stay stuck in transactional thinking? I mean, this is great, creative, outside the box
yeah.
approach to helping people in the real estate market. Why are people stuck in transactional thinking here?
Like they just don't realize that there's options, right? Yeah, they
Hmm.
just think, oh, go to the bank. And most people don't even know, oh, there's mortgage brokers and there's banks and they're all different. I like brokers because they have multiple options. They can shop it around, you know. But yeah, most people just they're uninformed. Yeah.
Hmm. So, in your model here, I mean, who benefits most from this model? Or is that the proper question to ask?
What I love about it is when it's done properly, and I say properly because rent to own has a bad name from individual sellers, companies that do rent to own doing it wrong and kind of setting people up for failure. If they can't buy that house in the future, that's that's a fail because the
Hmm.
buyer can't buy it. If they put down a lot of money and it's non-refundable, then the investor, company, whatever, probably is going to be okay. But I love it when it works out and the way we set it up. A lot, I counted. I did a video one time like, oh, there's like 8 different people involved, like the lender and the realtor and the investor and the buyer, of course. There's 8 people. And then I got to thinking about on there was like 13 different people involved. Yeah,
Hmm.
when you start
Hmm.
adding up the inspector and the appraiser and the title
Yeah,
company,
a lot of
yeah,
paychecks here.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people, benefiting from
Hmm.
helping somebody get into a home. You know.
Hmm. So, yeah. And does it create other opportunities where banks simply say no because the right boxes are not being checked? Um, yeah. Any other benefits that you can mention to the audience here?
The with rent to own specifically.
Yes.
Um, Realtors. So I teach a continuing education class for realtors, and I like lenders to come to it too. So
Hmm.
realtors, I can work with them. I'm licensed here in Colorado. We can work together and
Oh,
get the realtors paid. And the reason, one of the main reasons I teach
okay.
that class is so realtors aren't scared of it. Because everybody's heard about rent to own, some have heard bad things. So I teach the class for them to have the knowledge about it, the right way to do it. And then lenders can get the loan for that buyer in the future. So it's kind of one in the hopper. And then
Hmm.
we as investors, we get loans. We're not buying these in cash and holding them in cash. So a lender can get a loan with an investor, that's putting down 20, 25% up front. So lenders can win twice if they get
Hmm.
both of those loans. So does that answer your question?
Nice. Yeah, yeah, that's great. So beyond the lawyers checking the contracts, which they're going to do even in traditional models, beyond that, how do you manage risk in your business activities doing this lease option or rent to own model here? How in addition or apart from the lawyer looking at the contract,
Good,
what's your strategy to make it as risk free as possible?
good question. From the very beginning, and this is what most other companies and investors do not do, is make sure that buyer has a good chance of getting a loan in the future.
Yeah,
And I actually I take them to a lender and have them underwrite that buyer as if they were going to get them a loan. And sometimes the lender does have a program and they're like, oh, we can get them a house now. Great. Like,
you just help somebody get a house. Yeah,
right, yeah, without having to do rent own. Like rent own's a
yeah,
good, it's an option, but let's get them a house now. So that's kind of a CYA for everybody, for the
yeah,
buyer, because they know that, oh, somebody besides me gave the thumbs up, an actual loan
yeah.
officer that knows all the programs.
Hmm,
And then we
hmm.
keep the lender involved too. Like we do check-ins once in a while to make sure, hey, they're on track, they're doing what they need to do. And, we can't force them to do anything, but at least we're doing our part of it, like kind of staying in contact and be like, hey, are you yeah,
Yeah.
paying down that car loan or whatever it is?
And there's another American working family here that's got a place to live, roof over their head, and a
Yeah.
future where they're part of the ownership. Yeah,
Yes.
very good. So, I mean, at Real Home Solutions, your company, what's the core strategy behind how you structure your deals? The core strategy.
I'm not sure what, what how to answer
Uh,
that.
no. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of your client? Say,
Yeah. Well, I mean, every deal is a little different, structured differently. But my job is finding a balance, something
ah,
that's going to work for the buyer and for us as the investor. You know, that's really what it comes down to. And of course, there's numbers we're playing with
yep,
throughout
yep.
and the three numbers are basically how much money are they paying up front? How much is
Hmm.
their rent each month? And what is the purchase price for the property in the future? Because we're buying it at today's price. And so we're trying to
Right.
find a balance between all three of those for both sides. So that's kind of the
Okay.
the
You
work.
must have read my mind here, James, because my follow-up question on this would be, how do you balance returns for investors with opportunities for homeowners? And what makes your model sustainable long term for the
Hmm,
long haul doing this type of business you do?
yeah. Well, um, there's a lot of benefits to it on the investing side. Um, if, again, we've got a buyer that's got an owner's mindset. They've got some skin in the game, that intention to buy. Because of that, and this is the one of the main reasons I got into rent to own is like they're not, first of all, if we do it buyer first, we're buying that property. We already have the buyer. So when we close, immediately we have somebody moving in. There's no guessing, oh, what can we get for rent? How
Mm,
long is it going to
mm,
sit vacant, right? We already have somebody moving in. And then because they have skin in the game and they've picked out that house, they're not leaving in the middle of the night and taking off and damaging the property. So your
mhm.
vacancy is like zero. Sure, it
Okay.
could happen, but vacancy is a huge thing in that can kill a deal in real estate. Same with uh, capital expenses, right? So if they're punching holes in
Yeah.
walls, that can ruin your investment. A year or years of
Mm.
profit gone. Boom. We don't have that. And
But they
property
have
management.
massive incentive. If they're going to be the homeowner, they have massive incentive to really keep the
Yep.
property in pristine condition because they want to be the owners here. And that's
Yep.
what they're working towards.
Yep. And
Yeah.
we like we basically we self-manage, but there's not really that much management because we ask them to take care of the property. Of course, if things go south, we're there. Could
Mhm.
hire a property management company and probably get a discount because once if they understand this model, they know, hey, we're not having to put in the work as the property management company like we would with a regular renter.
Right.
Yeah. So those are kind of like high
Much
level.
easier to manage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So you also, James, you help agents and investors build multiple income streams. What does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, it's different for everybody. I mean, agents, obviously, like it was a dead deal if they can't get a client that can get a loan. So we get them paid upfront. Lenders, we can get them paid upfront on the loan to us and on the back end when we get that buyer qualified. And then investors, I mean, we're teeing up these great investments where they don't have to worry
Yeah.
about all those things I just mentioned, the management, the vacancy, the capital expenses, all
Mm,
that stuff. And the I guess the only downside for an investor is it's not long term, right? When that buyer buys, they get cashed out. I'm not complaining. My investors
yeah,
don't
right.
complain that I work with. Like, okay, let's do it again. Let's use the velocity of money. You hear that term? Like, let's go do it
Yeah.
again. Like, just keep it going. So,
What are the key pillars that people should focus on here? Yeah, I mean, you're helping agents, investors. If a person was to start in on this business, what should they really focus on here?
depends on what part of the business they're wanting to do. Like for me, I mean, I've paid a lot of money for multiple different mentors, coaches, that kind of teach the different angles of it. Um,
Hmm.
so, I mean,
Yeah.
pitch to myself, like if somebody really wants to hire a coach, they could come to me and get the the coaching that I pulled from multiple different coaches. I could name off all the
Mm.
different ones, but
Yeah, yeah.
big names in the space. But I mean that saved me so much stress and screwing things up by having somebody
Sure. Learn
handhold
from
me and
experts.
yeah,
That always is a smart move,
yeah,
typically here.
yeah. You just have
How
to
do you
dive
try?
in too.
Oh, yeah.
I was just
Uh,
gonna say you have to dive in like
mhm.
I've coached with my other coaches. I can't, like as I was like star student, they're like, "Oh, hey, I can't make it. Will you run the our coaching call kind of thing?" And I'd have
Hmm.
people like afraid to like call a lender or an agent or
Yeah.
an investor. Like there's kind of a framework for like what that conversation is, right? But I'm like, you can't be afraid. You just got to make mistakes and give it a shot, you know?
Give it a shot, and if you're gonna
Yeah,
fall forward. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, as they say, right?
Mm.
Uh, Otherwise, I'd be stuck in doing the same old
Hmm.
thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So you incorporate tax strategy and asset protection. How important is that in building long-term wealth? It's a basic question there, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's how you do it. So can you comment on that?
Yeah, yeah. And I am not an expert in that stuff. Like, I have partners that can help people strategize like how are they protecting their assets, one, and that tax strategy, because tax Man, I've heard stories about people that using real estate, timing things properly, save themselves
Hmm.
so much money. Like it's people don't think about it like, oh, I'm making all this money, but oh, what if the tax man hit me and I didn't could have avoided that, you know?
Yeah. Dollar saved is a dollar earned. It's easier to save that and not pay the tax people than
Yeah,
get out and work hard for it, which you got to do anyways. Um,
yeah.
so could you comment on what you think people might be overlooking when it comes to taxes and structuring? Um, I know that's not your field, but
Right.
how have you approached that? What are people
Um,
overlooking? What's the most important thing with that you see?
well, one thing that comes to mind, I mean, 1031 exchanges. Um,
Mm,
that's a little harder for us to time with rent to own, but just depending, it is a tool to kick the can down the road with paying tax on your capital gains. Something that most people don't know. There's multiple types of 1031 exchanges, and the downside of a regular 1031 exchange is there's a clock ticking as soon as you say, oh, I need to sell this
mm,
and you have to go identify another property and get it under contract. It, otherwise, oh, you got hit with the capital gains. And there's some reasons not to do 1031s, but
hmm
most people want to do that. But what's cool that most people don't
mm,
know is there is a reverse 1031. You can go find the next property and then sell the first property and not have that ticking clock. It costs about 5 times as much. So like say it's $1,500 to do a regular 1031. You can do a reverse for like five grand, but then you're not stressing out like, oh, I gotta go identify
okay.
properties and get them under contract. So that's
Yeah.
that's one thing.
Okay. Okay. I didn't realize that. And I've purchased property 1031.
Yeah.
That's a really good tip there. Thank you. So
Yeah.
pay
Yeah.
attention, listeners. We got some good tips going here. Okay. You're connecting two very different groups of people, investors and aspiring homeowners. How do you align or balance those interests?
Oh, I think like before we're talking about the rento and like I'm finding that balance. Like as long as everybody's happy, we're good. Otherwise, it's no deal, right? Um, what I what I love about this
Yeah. Yeah.
is if I can get somebody started into home ownership and get the first property, well, why not keep going? Like
Mhm.
establish that home, use that equity, or at least save up money and go buy another. I can help them with that. Maybe they become the rent to own investor. Like
Yeah.
that's my dream is to just like keep helping people not just get the one home. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm. And in a few words, what makes lease to own such a power home ownership?
can you say it again? You're cutting out.
Oh dear, let's try that again. What makes lease to own such a powerful bridge for home ownership for people?
You know, well, it's pretty much the only bridge if they
You know
cannot
what?
get a
I am
loan.
going. Yes. Okay. It's their way to home ownership, and it may be the only way. That's a one way to say that. I'm putting words in your mouth, but that's what it
Yeah,
seems to me. I mean, it's a for certain people. Um, gosh, the entrepreneurs. Yeah, that could be the only way they get that to happen. All right, I'm going to turn off my visual right now because the connection's a little something's going on with the connection here, so that might increase the bandwidth a little bit. Um, okay, but let me move on to the next question, and we'll have the tech people edit some of the stuff out of here. But what are you seeing right now in the market, James? Where are the real opportunities right now?
That's a good question. The market is topsy-turvy. It's always changing, right? Like there's
Mm,
never like
yes.
I mean day to day and market to market is it's changing. Um, One of the biggest trends right now is co-living. So we've added that in to our strategy. So co-living, for people that
Okay.
haven't heard that term, is renting by the room. And it can be either like house hacking, where you live in the home and rent out the extra rooms, or
Mm,
co-living is more thought of as like more of an investment, where you buy a home and you don't live in it, you rent out all the rooms. And
mm,
that's like for Denver, one of the few ways to actually cash flow right off the bat. Like if you go buy a
okay.
house in Denver at Denver prices, and you even if you put 20-25% down, the rents just aren't going to keep up with what your mortgage is. So if you can push it by having, say a five, six or more bedroom house, you can cash flow. So
Nice. So you're into that. You're helping people buy a home that they can turn into co-living. Is that accurate then
yeah,
to
yeah.
say
In
that?
fact, Pad Split, which is kind of like the Airbnb app for co-living, I helped them get two of the first houses in Denver off the ground, set up with furniture and keyless entry on all the bedrooms. There's a few things like that we do. Um, and I
Mm-hmm.
managed one of those. Um, so yeah, so I
Okay.
help people set those up. It's easiest to convert from a long-term rental than go try to buy one on market. Especially if it's
Mm,
short-term rental that's already got furniture in it. Well, that's an easy
right.
lift. That's
You're all
actually
set,
what
ready to go.
a lot of people have done that. So
And that's another way to do creative workforce housing here that we desperately need everywhere. And it's a way, wouldn't it be a way then that, say, a single person homeowner, say a retired person, and there's only one person left, older person, they're trying to pay their taxes. They've got three extra bedrooms in the house. It's perfect, you know?
yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. What's coming next in creative financing down the road? If you had your crystal ball out here, what do you think is coming next? In the way to serve people that are coming up into the market here, wanting to buy, wanting to own, needing a place to live. What's coming next to you? What do you see down the road, James?
Um, I can't think of anything new, but f one of the biggest challenges is especially first-time home buyers, younger people that are just getting their careers off the ground. It's like, what do we do? Well, back to the basics. Like
Yep.
buy a duplex, buy a big house with somebody else. Like I believe up to five unrelated people can apply for a loan together. So get together with a buddy, a brother,
Mm.
sister, somebody. Like, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not ideal, a partnership can go south, but what else are you gonna do? Like,
It,
do
it's a
something.
way to move
Um,
forward. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yep.
Mm.
Rent out those rooms.
Nice.
So,
Very good. Uh, is what's the public's biggest misconception about the lease to own or rent to own strategy? What is their biggest thing that they don't get about
well, like I mentioned before, Rentown's been given a bad name because ugh, large portion. Let's. It's hard to track it, but let's say 85% or so don't end up buying the home. Well,
it? Oh, yeah.
and that's unfortunate. The way we do it, like how I explain getting with the lender and underwriting, all that that makes a difference. So
Yep.
just knowing the right way to do it is huge. And so like ours, most people end up buying. And there's different
Oh,
reasons why they might,
very
but
good.
most of them do. So
There you go. There you go. So for a young person just getting started in real estate here, can you give some words of wisdom? And maybe they're not necessarily going into lease to own or rent to own, which you've turned into a big success here. What are some words of wisdom for people getting into it?
um, don't give up. Do your research.
There we go.
Figure it out. FIO,
Mhm,
figure it
mhm.
out. There's
There we
tons of
go.
resources. There's tons of resources now. Like I started out with Bigger Pockets, listening to their podcasts and stuff. Um, I don't know if I'd mentioned, like I host the This Month in Real Estate Investing show. It's on the United States Real Estate Investor platform, and our goal is to help educate people. But yeah, get out there, listen to
That's right.
podcasts, read books, talk to people, you know, find somebody that you can
Hmm.
trust to help you figure this out. There's a lot of different ways to do it. It's gotten a little harder
Nice.
with things, but yeah,
There we go.
yeah.
So, James, this is great. Then, I mean, what stands out in talking with you here is that you're not just helping people buy property; you're helping them build systems for long-term wealth and getting people into their first home. So, I want to thank you for being on the podcast here. And I guess a big question: how do people find you? Where are they going to find you online? And let us know here.
Real easy. Go to jamesbrownrealestate.com and then /connect. And I got a bunch of ways to plug in. So I'm happy to talk to anybody that's motivated and
Nice.
wants help figuring this out.
Wonderful. All right. Well, James, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a great podcast and good luck moving forward here. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. That's a wrap there, James. And
Oh, that was a good
yeah,
one.
very good. Thank you. Yeah. So uh, we'll pull out, like I said, the life sometimes more, and then we'll send you a copy of the podcast. I'll have them go through that because there was one section where the connection I think was a little weak, but
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. And then we will send you the snippets. We'll send you the podcast, and yeah, appreciate the kind of the education on lease to own. I'm somewhat familiar with it. Oh,
Yeah.
and I do own a co-living property.
Oh,
So
I think you might
yeah,
have mentioned
in
that.
fact,
Yeah.
yeah, just south of DFW in Texas. And I got to tell you, yeah, it was quite an experience because I challenged myself to buy it without ever going there and only using technology, which I did. Unfortunately, and I was the passive investor, I had to kick out the operators because they had no clue what they were doing.
Who was
They
your
started
operator down
renting to
there?
people. Oh, it was terrible, man. He's kind of in trouble now, actually. It was a team of three of them. Um, man,
Was it Reed
I've like
Clanahan?
blanked him from my.
Reed Clanahan?
You
Was he
got it,
involved?
man. It was Reed. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that's
I gave him the
unfortunate.
boot. I put more money into it to finish it right. And I brought in a woman who does her own co-living. She lives there for free
Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned that.
right now, and I've got. Yes, and she manages them. It costs me probably more than pad split. I definitely probably could make more if I did pad split, but I think I can sleep well at night knowing that, I've got a good operation there. It's profitable and everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a typical real estate scenario. It ain't all roses, but if you work hard at it, you can make it happen.